am Fletcher Brown with another artist video blog here at kicks96country.com. Our guest today, all the way from Australia, by way of Canada, by way of Nashville. Or wait, that might be in the wrong order. No, all the way from Nashville, by way of Australia, by way of Canada.
There we go.
That's it.
That's it.
Please welcome for his very first visit to Kicks 96, Robert Ross. How are you, Robert?
Good, Fletch. Thanks for having me.
Man, glad to have you here. Now, you have such an interesting story, and I led with that because the man has lived a very, very fascinating life. You're originally from is it Miramichi, Canada? Miramichi. Okay,
Yeah,
I wasn't sure if I was going to say that right, but Miramichi, Canada, like around New Brunswick.
It is. Yeah, it's northeast coast of New Brunswick.
Okay. So you actually served in the Canadian military. You're a veteran.
I did. Yeah, I was in the Army for 11 and a half years.
Wow. All right. So you come from rural Canadian, small town, rural Canadian life.
Yeah.
You're a veteran. You grew up listening to country music, like your mom singing around the house, and and then of course country playing around. But what made you decide that you wanted to follow country music as a career?
It's always been there, and I've always had this little niggling thing saying, wanting to sing. I was always shy as a kid, though.
Oh.
So, I'd wander off in the back room, and that's where I did my singing.
Oh, okay.
And that's how it kind of developed. And then as I got older, of course, there's parties around, house parties, and that's around where we grew up. That's pretty much the main thing for entertainment. So we had house parties, and then every once in a while there was a social club that had a dance and that. So you go to that. And so, there was always live music around, always people singing.
So were you always a part of the live music scene in Miramichi? Or?
No.
No.
I didn't start performing until I was long gone from home.
Really?
Yeah.
So was before or after your time in the service?
It was after.
After.
Yeah.
So you lived all that life before you did.
Yeah.
Well, but I mean, and I'm not criticizing, that's a beautiful thing, because by the time you came to music, you had all this life experience built up. So now you're a songwriter too, right?
I am, yeah.
You pull from those experiences when you're a songwriter.
Yeah, it's all the songs that I've recorded so far are either written by me or co-written by me. Mm-hmm. So both albums I have, they're co-written or written by me. And some of it comes from life, but I get a lot of people asking me, how do you write a song? And I always tell them I don't know.
I hear that a lot.
It's actually a funny thing because I don't really sit down. I'm doing a little bit more where I sit down with people to co-write. But when I write on my own, it just happens. Mm-hmm. It comes. It's a gift from God. It comes to the pen. I put it down on paper, and that's it.
All right. Okay. So growing up in small rural Canada, you go through the military service in Canada, you're a veteran. You've got this music in your heart and your life, but at some point you decided around 2000, 3, 4-ish, or was it 2009-ish maybe, you moved to Australia? Is that right?
2009.
2009 you moved to Australia.
Yeah.
Why? Not that I love Australia. All of our brothers and sisters down under, I love you guys. I don't like the animals down there because everything wants to kill you, but I love you. You're beautiful people. Why did you move to Australia?
Well, that's all media that makes things sound like everything wants to kill you.
No, they do. They really do. It rains spiders. It rains spiders. But
the main reason is that there's no snow. I grew up on the east coast of Canada, and I know cold. I know snow. I remember as a kid, like they don't get snow like they used to when I was a kid, but there was 25 foot high snow banks. It's brutally
Great White North, man. They call it the Great White North for a reason.
Great White North.
Jack London wrote about it. We all read it in high school. Call the Wild.
That's right.
We all know that. It's like up there in the Saskatchewan, that area. Yeah, it gets really, really cold.
It does. Yeah.
And none of that in Australia. So
there is places in Australia that snow, but that's way down south, and where we live is in the tropics, so it's summer all year round. A cold winter's day for us back where we live, Cairns is the name of the town.
Yeah.
And a cold winter's day is 75 degrees.
Really?
Yeah.
Gosh, if only there weren't just venomous spiders everywhere that want to eat you in your sleep. I could live there. It'd be great. All right. So you lived in Canada. You actually you lived in Australia. You became an Australian citizen. But now life has moved you from there in Australia to Nashville.
Yeah.
And now, so how long has your music career, did you pick up the guitar and songwriting while you were living in Australia, or?
No, I was doing that while I was in Canada.
Okay. So so you were already doing that down in Australia.
I was, yeah. And then I started doing it full time when I was in Australia. So, and then 2019, I cut my first album. I had lots of people saying, hey, when are you going to cut an album? When are you going to cut an album? Yeah, it's coming. It's coming. So finally, 2019, I just bit the bullet and said, all right, going to do it. Got it done. And then, yeah, it took off from there.
All right. And so now here we are all caught up with Robert Ross, and we've got his current album, Better with Time. The first single off that, Drink 'Em Down. And that's one that you've co-written. So talk to us about Drink 'Em Down, the current single.
Yeah, it's a funny little tune. It's I had this conversation with this person a number of years ago, and it kind of stuck on my head where they came home and found their significant other in bed with someone else.
Because that's never happened before.
No, it's never
ever
happened. Never. Mm-hmm. But being cheated on is one thing, but being cheated on in your own bed, it's kind of another thing. Yeah. And that kind of stuck there. So a couple of years ago, I started writing that song and never really completely finished it. It was probably about 90% finished or whatever. So when I came to Nashville, my producer, Gil Grand, we sat down, we're throwing songs on the table, and this was one of them. So we ended up finishing writing it. Mm-hmm. So it's a serious topic, but it's kind of a light melody to it.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well,
your toe tapping.
I've heard the song, and it's like a honky tonk song, and it's about drinking.
Yeah.
So you got the song finished. It's the first single. You're already looking at what the next single is going to be. But the album right now, Better with Time, is the album out now, or is it still forthcoming?
It's not released, but it is available.
All right. So you can get it if somebody is listening and they want to hear the album or learn more about Robert Ross and your journeys through Canada and Australia to Nashville. How do they find you on the internet?
Well, you can find me at robertrossmusic.com, and you can go there to find the album or history about me, what I'm up to. Social media, it's Robert Ross Music. There's another Robert Ross out there. He's a blues player from Chicago, I think it is. So Robert Ross
Different
Music.
Robert Ross.
Yeah.
Not the blues guy.
That's right.
Guy.
You don't see the cowboy hat, then it's not me.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, so Robert Ross Music on Facebook, Instagram, and I try to, if people contact me, I do my very best to contact them, because if they're taking their time, then it's worth my time to stay in touch with them. I love staying in touch with people.
Absolutely.
Because without them, this ain't happening.
That's right. Without you, there's no Robert Ross. So go find him on Instagram and Facebook and all the social media, and get your copy of Better with Time. I mean, all the streaming platforms you can find in there. And look for a live performance from Robert Ross here elsewhere on our YouTube channel. Thanks for coming and visiting us, man.
Thank you, Fletch.
And welcome to Nashville.
Thank you. Appreciate
that. You've only been there just a little while, but a little more than a year.
I just celebrated my first year.
Really?
Yeah.
New face in Nashville.
New face.
Do you play around Nashville?
I do a few things around Nashville. Yeah.
Right.
Songwriter venues and the writers' rounds and that.
All right. So if you're knocking around Nashville, look for Robert Ross. Trust me, you're going to like him. We'll see you next time on another artist video blog, Kix96country.com.
That don't get her out of my head. Just line them up and I'll start again. Drink them down. Gonna chase that hurtin' out of town. She ain't gone one more round. Just set them up. Now drink them